Hello, my name is Keita Jackson, and today I will be analyzing and discussing an ethical dilemma that was chosen by the instructor. While analyzing the dilemma, I will be using the Ethical Decision Making Foundation in addition to the principles and the standards of the National Code of Ethics. Today's topic is about a wealthy client that gave his recently licensed therapist a new car for Christmas, and a card stating, "To the only man who ever helped me." The therapist came to believe the gift was warranted because the client expressed having many past unproductive therapists. Over time, the client found fault with the therapy and ultimately sued the therapist for manipulating him into buying an expensive gift. According to the book, there are two different ethical decision-making foundations: ethical relativism and absolutism. I hope I'm saying those correctly. Ethical relativism says that there is not a universal criteria that determines what is or is not an ethical act. As stated in the passage before, there isn't a universal criteria that determines if accepting the gift is or is not an ethical act. However, it does not lead to a desirable result. Ethical absolutism says that moral commands are always right in all situations and culture. For instance, if the therapist would have declined the gift and talked to the client about why accepting the gift would be inappropriate in their professional relationship, the conflict wouldn't have ended in a legal matter. Secondly, we will be analyzing the ethical dilemma using the National Code of Ethics ethical principles. The ethical principles are based on social workers' core values: service, social justice, dignity and worth of the person, importance of human relationships, integrity, and competence. However, in this ethical dilemma, the therapist did not practice the ethical principles properly. When the therapist decided to accept the gift from the wealthy client, he did not apply the integrity value. The therapist accepting the card knowing the gift was warranted because of the client's previous relationships with many unproductive therapists. Knowing the circumstances of the client's past, the therapist behaved in such an untrustworthy manner, lacking the value of integrity. Finally, I will be analyzing the dilemma using the National Code of Ethics ethical standards. These ethical standards are relevant to the professional activities of all social workers. These standards consider social work ethical responsibility to the clients, colleagues, practice settings as professional social work profession, and the broader society. In this dilemma, the social worker ethical responsibility to the client were deserted. Standard 1.04 completeness A. The therapist didn't represent himself as a competent within the boundaries of education, training, license and certification ethics. He allowed the client to get personal and accepted the gift after the client stated that his past wasn't as pretty with other therapists. Standard 1.04 competence C. After learning about the client's past, the therapist should have exercised careful judgment and taken the responsible steps to ensure completeness of their work. With the client having so many past issues with multiple therapists, a simple decline of the gift and a productive talk to ensure the client and tell the client why the gift was inappropriate. Standards 1.06 conflict of interest. Being alert to and avoid any conflict of interest that could interfere with the exercise of professional judgment. When a therapist received the gift, he then should have informed the client of its upcoming conflict that could be involved. After informing the client, he should have taken the proper precaution to resolve the issue in a manner that makes the client interest primary. Although the therapist did not manipulate the client into buying the expensive gift, he did utilize the client's past to keep the gift. In conclusion, the therapist had plenty of time and opportunity to decline the gift without offending the client by simply explaining the situation before it could become a serious issue. By not handling the situation professionally, such as the several system for decision making, National Code of Ethics principles and standards, the situation wouldn't have resulted in a legal matter.